Welcome, it's Raquel Mara. Great to have you here. Thank you for joining. Today's practice, the things you'll need are 2 blocks, are a pen, just a regular pen or marker. It's not to take notes, we're going to use it as a tool. So just anything you have that is the shape of a pen. And then a hand towel, which we're going to use in a little bit so you can have it ready. You can take it the long way like I'm holding it and just fold it in half that long way and roll it up so that you have this kind of narrow shaped bolster. All right, and then you're gonna set that off to the side where would be the top of your mat, alongside your blocks, and your pen will be up there as well so that you can reach it without too much fuss. And just lay on your belly prone to start. All right, so go down to your belly. Stack your hands underneath your forehead. Separate the legs, whatever distance makes your knees happy. So it might be a little wider than your hips, and just let things relax, let yourself drop in. Take a few rounds of breath. Maybe the first few, the exhalation is open-mouthed and it's a bit of a release for anything you might be carrying around with you. You might roll the forehead from side to side on the stack of your hands. Allow the breath to roll into itself, so you'll breathe in and roll right into the breath out. Just keep working in that cycle where the exhalation flows right into the inhalation. Pick your left leg up off the floor with a straight knee. And just move your leg in a little bit into the midline so that your foot is about in line with your hip. And making that leg longer, reaching out of your hip with a pointed foot. Place the leg back down to the floor so that the top of your left foot is firmly planted into the ground. Then slide your right knee forward into a half frog shape where your knee is about in line with your hip and your ankle is about in line with your knee and your foot is flexed. Try to even out your frontal hip points so that you're not rocking too much in one direction or the other, but you're mostly even with the floor. And with the top of your left leg active and pressing into the ground, try to create a spiraling action. So from your right hip crease, you're trying to spiral from that hip crease out and around your outer right hip and spiraling down under toward your sitting bone. Imagine that I were standing over you and I had my foot right in your right hip crease. And with my foot, I was pressing back in space so that your right hip moved back a bit, and then from there you'd create that spiral action. So you're trying to remain with that feeling of space and that right hip moving back and the spiraling action from the front of the hip toward the back of the hip toward your right sitting bone. So you're going to keep that as best as you can. Your right foot is flexed firmly, your left leg is engaged, and with your right knee, the inner right knee remaining on the floor, you're going to lift your right foot straight up toward the ceiling without losing the spiraling action of your right hip, right? So if you were to lose that spiraling action of the right hip, you might be able to rock forward more with the hip and get that foot really high, but that's not where we're trying to go. Trying to work with the range, only the range of your right hip right at that joint. So you're trying to keep that spiral action down as you're lifting the foot so that the hip is coming into an internal rotation. And imagining that the air around your foot is getting thick and dense. You're going to push down very slowly to lower your right foot back down to the floor, slowly and steadily down. And then as you breathe in, maintaining that spiraling of your outer right hip, you're going to slowly lift your right foot back up only as high as you can go without losing that spiral action. As you exhale, slowly lower the foot back down to the floor. 3 more with your breath, just like that. Breathe in, lift the foot, keep that spiraling action of the hip. Slowly lower it back down. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe out, lower it down. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. One more, breathe in. And breathe out. Stay in the shape. Keep the legs active and slide your hands and your fingertips off your mat, about in line with your shoulders. Your elbows are pointing up to the ceiling. Tense the hands, your fingertips are on the floor, and the center of the palms are domed up away from the ground. And with your breath in, keep your head heavy. Lift your back, the space between your shoulder blades, straight up to the ceiling. Looks like you had a hook there that was hiking you up toward the ceiling, and then your chin will lift last, and you look up. And as you exhale with the head remaining lifted, you'll slowly ripple yourself back down to the ground, and your forehead is the last thing to land. Doing 2, just like that, slowly lifting yourself up, the head is heavy. Exhaling, lowering yourself back down. 1 more like that, breathe in. And breathe out. Slide your hands once again under your forehead. Straighten your right leg out back behind you. Lift the leg, make it longer, reach it out of the hip. Place the leg down onto the floor so the top of the foot's firmly planted, pressing into the floor. And then slide your left knee forward into a half frog shape. Flex your left foot. Try to find some evenness and some balance. The frontal hip bones toward the floor. Try to wrap your outer left hip in that spiral action. So the left hip crease in the front. Try to move it back to create some space. And then wrapping from the hip crease around the outer hip, spiraling back toward your left sitting bone. Create that strong spiral action and try to keep that as best as you can. And again, just imagine that I were standing and I had my foot
in front of that left hip crease with my heel up against you, and I'm pushing my foot back, and you are spiraling that hip back and down. Keep that action, and slowly with your inhale, lift your left foot up towards the ceiling. Your left knee stays on the floor. Try not to lose that spiraling action of the hip, because otherwise your hip's going to roll forward and you'll really be able to lift that hip. But what we're trying to accomplish is internal rotation right at that hip joint. And slowly, with an imagined dense air beneath your left foot, slowly lower through that resistance back down to the floor. Top of your right foot's pressing firmly into the ground. As you inhale, lift your foot back up. Keep that spiral action of the hip. As you exhale, slowly lower it down. Breathe in, lift up. Breathing out, lower down. 2 more, breathe in. Breathe out. Last one, breathe in. And breathe out. Keep the leg shape, keep the integrity of the legs, the actions of the firmness, pressing the top of your right foot to the floor, and slip your hands outside again, like you did before, into your fingertops in line with your shoulders off your mat. Elbows are pointing out. With your head heavy and the space between your shoulder blades being the starting point of the lift off, lift up toward the ceiling. Lift your gaze. As you exhale, keep the chin elevated as you ripple yourself back down to the floor, and your forehead's the last thing to land. 2 more just like that. Breathe in. Breathe out, lower down. Last one, breathe in. And breathe out. Send your left leg back to meet the right. Flip yourself over so you're laying on your back. Bend your knees so your feet are on the floor. And gathering the shoulder blades a little bit so they're beneath you, contacting the ground. Pick your feet up off the floor and cross your right thigh over the left thigh. Try to get a cross of the legs that's high up toward the hips. And then bend the knees, and you might just bring the lower half of your legs together. Or you can take a full eagle cross and hook the toes of your right foot behind your left calf. And squeeze the legs together, and then move the feet forward just enough so that your knees are over your hips more or less, and your shins are about parallel to the ceiling. And then you're going to take your hands and stack them on top of your right thigh. Your back is about neutral, so try not to exaggerate a lumbar curve, because then you'll be taking this more into your low back, and that's not really what we're working with. We're trying to work the abdominals, so you're going to stay in more of a neutral spine with your hands stacked on top of your right thigh. The belly's firm, that low belly's pulled in. You're going to push your legs forward with your hands, but your legs are going to resist that push and fight your hands back. Take about 3 cycles of breath. And then bring your knees in toward your chest, but keep the eagle cross of your legs. Reach your arms up. Take your left elbow on top of the right elbow, and just like you did with your legs, you're going to try to make the cross of your arms as close to your shoulders as you can. And then you'll either take a full eagle cross, you'll bend the elbows and you'll cross at the forearms, and you might hold your left wrist with your right hand, or you're going to slip your hands behind your shoulder blades, whichever one's more comfortable for you and your shoulders. With your inhalation, reach either your elbows or your fingers back behind you and your feet forward, maintaining that neutral spine. And then as you breathe out, bring your elbows to your knees and round yourself up. So you're flexing the spine and getting really round and trying to push that mid-back and imprint into the floor. Then as you breathe in, you'll land through that neutral spine. You'll reach your hands back, your feet forward. As you breathe out, you'll bring your elbows up to your knees, get really round and flex the spine and tap. Do 3 like that. Breathe in, reach forward and back, land your head, neutral spine. Breathe out, elbows to knees, get round, push the floor away with that mid-back. 2 more, breathe in. Breathe out. Last one, breathe in. Breathe out. Land your head and back on the floor, unravel the arms so you're either in a cactus shape or a T shape. Unravel the legs to a figure 4. So your left foot will land on the floor and the right ankle will cross over your left thigh. Pick up your butt and move it a couple inches off to the right. And just let your figure 4 drop off to the left. Turn your gaze off to the right. Both shoulder blades are on the floor. Try to move your right knee forward toward that top edge of your mat. Shift your gaze back up, and with your breath in, pick up your figure 4 shape back up through center. Move your butt back into the middle. And bring your knees into your chest. Cross your left thigh over the right. Make that big cross, tie up toward your groins as you can. With your knees, you'll cross the bottom half of your legs, perhaps, or you're just bringing the bottom half of your legs together. Squeeze in. Move your feet forward and try to parallel your shins to the ceiling. And stack your hands on top of your left thigh. Belly's firm, your back is about neutral. So you're not imprinting into the floor, but you're also not in an exaggerated lumbar curve. Start to push your legs forward. Resist that push, so you're pushing the legs back into your hands. This is pretty firm. It should feel like work. You're pushing the hands and the legs are fighting you back. Take 3 cycles of breath. Bring your knees in toward your chest. Whew. Reach your arms up. Cross the right elbow over the left. So you're making a big X and try to slide up. That X as high up toward your shoulders as you can. And then you'll either take that full eagle cross of the arms and you're holding your right wrist with your left hand, or you're slipping your hands beneath your shoulder blades, right? So again, it's all about what's more comfortable for your shoulders. With your breath in, try to maintain a neutral spine. You're going to reach your toes forward and your hands or your elbows back. As you breathe out, bring your elbows to your knees and ground yourself up into flexion in your spine and press your mid back into the floor. With your inhale, reach the feet forward and the hands back. With your exhale, bring your elbows to your knees, get round, push mid back into the floor. 3 more, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one like that, breathe in. And breathe out, round it up. Unravel the arms, land your head and back on the floor. Arms are in a T or a cactus. And land your feet into figure 4 so that your right foot's on the floor and the left ankle's crossed over your right thigh. Pick up your butt, move it left a couple of inches, and let your figure 4 shape drop off to the right. Shift your gaze left. Try to move your left knee forward. forward toward the top edge of your mat. Shift your gaze back up with your breath in, firm belly, pick your figure four shape back up. Bring your butt back into the middle. Uncross the ankle, land your feet to the floor. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Rock yourself back. To rock yourself forward into a seat. I'm just going to make sure that that pen that you had already set up is up toward the top of your mat so that you have it there for when you need it in a few moments, and step yourself back into downward facing dog. Have your feet about the width of your hips and your hands about the width of your shoulders. Try to move the tops of your thigh bones back in space. The undersides of your upper arms moving forward, almost as if you were going toward a plank pose. Keep that feeling of the undersides of your upper arms lifting you forward. Broaden the shoulders. Try to spin your biceps more forward and move your hips up and back without losing that feeling of the undersides of your upper arms lifting you forward. Take a cycle of breath. The breath in, bend the knees, look forward. The bottom of your exhalation, hop or step your feet to your hands. Take a breath in to an Ardha Uttanasana. Lift yourself halfway up. With your exhalation, fold yourself in half. It's always my cue to put my hair in a huge bun. I always timed it perfectly with my first Uttanasana. With your breath in, rise yourself all the way up. Reach up. Tadasana, exhale. Reach your arms forward and up, breathe in, look up, little back bend at the top. Breathe out, fold over your legs. With your in-breath, lift halfway to an Ardha Uttanasana. With your breath out, step your left foot back, place your knee onto the ground, and as you breathe in, keep your right knee more or less right over its own ankle, rise yourself up. As you exhale, shift your pelvis forward and your right knee forward, and the back thighs going to descend a bit. Untuck your back toes. And on your inhalation, lift your sternum bone straight up toward the ceiling and back a bit. Take another breath in right here, fill up. As you breathe out, shift the hips back to straighten out your right leg. Flex the foot, sweep your arms back. Hinge at the hips to tip forward. With your arms back, palms to the floor, slide your shoulder blades together, hug your low ribs in, so there's a lot in this shape. And then you're gonna cinch your legs and hug them toward each other really firmly. With breath 2 more times, breathe in, bend into the front knee, sweep the arms up, lift the sternum up. With your breath out, shift the hips back with that same integrity you did when you were doing a little slower the first time. One more, breathe in, bend, reach. Breathe out, shift it back. Stay here. Lower your left fingertips to the floor into your shoulder. As you breathe in, reach your right arm up. Outer right hip, roll it down and back. Legs are hugging toward each other. Inhale. On your exhalation, bend your right knee, lower your right hand down to the floor. Plant your hands for plank pose, tuck your back toes, lift the knee, and step your right foot back to plank. Rock yourself forward, shoulders moving in the direction of your fingernails, and then slowly with resistance, lower yourself all the way down to the floor. Pick yourself up into a little baby cobra. Notice in your cobra shape where you might feel a spot in your back, where there's a roadblock, where you feel like you can lift no more.
And in line with that roadblock, right, so for me it's right about bra line, you're gonna take your pen and you're gonna try to line the pen up at your front body, underneath your front body, to be in line with that stuck spot on your back, and then lower yourself down onto the floor with that pen there. On your inhalation, lift yourself up into that baby cobra. With your chest, try to roll the pen forward. Legs are strong. Reach your arms back and have your palms facing the floor in Ardha Shalabhasana, and try to roll your pen forward more to help you lift up. On your exhalation, lower yourself back down to the floor and your hands are set up like cobra. Slip the pen just slightly further down toward your hips. With the next in-breath, come up to cobra. Stay there for the exhale. Try to roll the pen forward with your chest to lift you up a little higher, and then add the arms reaching back, palms are down. Try to roll the pen forward more to lift you up more. Breathe in. Lower yourself down as you breathe out, landing your hands like cobra pose. Slip the pen slightly further back toward your hips. Lift yourself up into cobra. Roll the pen forward. Reach your arms back, palms down. Try to roll the pen forward more. Legs are super strong, the tops of the feet are pressing to the floor. Take a breath in, keep rolling the pen forward. And as you breathe out, lower yourself back down. Take the pen out, flip it to the side, tuck your toes. Lift your knees up off the floor. So your tucked toes are on the ground, it's the knees that are lifted. Reach your tailbone down toward your heels and hug your ribs in, firm up the belly. And then with all this strength, on a big breath in, try to push yourself straight up to plank pose without a back bend. So you're pushing straight up. Shift yourself back into downward facing dog. Turn your left hand out about 45 degrees. Right, so on the ground, instead of the fingers facing the short edge of your mat, you're going to turn the hand out slightly. Take your left foot and step forward onto your left hand. Lower your right knee to the floor. Shift your right foot to the left so that shin is going to act like a kickstand. And then reach your right arm up into a version of a side angle pose. Stepping on that left hand, 5:16 p.m. That's creating some resistance for you to reach away from, to lift away from. Sweep the top arm over your ear. You're going to stay right here where you are, or you're going to lift your back knee up off the floor. So you're going to shift your right foot back a little bit, and start to lift your right knee up off the ground and ground your back heel. So it's going to look more like a regular Parsvakonasana, except that you're standing on your left hand. Right? You're still trying to resist your way against that pressure, the foot on your hand. You're lifting your left side waist up. Take a breath in, fill up. As you breathe out, lower your right hand down to the floor, flip your right heel up, slip your left hand out from underneath your left foot. Both hands are inside of your foot. Turn your left toes out a little bit. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, step your right foot forward outside of your right hand with the toes turned out a little bit, and lower your butt to about knee height. Hug in your low ribs, firm up your belly, and reach your arms forward in line with your ears. Take a big breath in. And as you breathe out, fold over your leg. Lift your butt, narrow your feet. On your inhalation, lift halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, fold over the legs. As you breathe in, rise yourself up to stand, reach all the way up, look up, little back bend at the top. On your exhale, dive over your legs, soft knees, fold.
Breathe in, lift halfway. Breathe out, step your right foot back, lower your knee. Keep your left knee over its ankle more or less, and you're gonna rise yourself up. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, shift your hips forward. Let your knee come forward, untuck the back toes, pressing the top of your right foot into the floor. As you breathe in, lift your chest up and back. Another big breath in here. Lift the chest up and back, out of your low back. As you breathe out, shift your hips back. Sweep your arms back, turn your palms to the floor. Flex your left toes. You're pulling the toes toward your left shin bone. You're hinging at your hips, your belly's firm. Cinch the legs toward each other, hug in. Take your next breath in and start to bend into your front knee and sweep the arms forward and up. With your breath out, shift the hips back, flex the left foot, sweep your arms back, hinge at your hips. One more, breathe in. Breathe out. Lower your right hand to the floor under your shoulder and reach the left arm up to the ceiling. Hug the legs toward each other, wrap that outer left hip back and down. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, lower your left hand to the floor, bend into your left knee. Plant your hands for plank, tuck the back toes, lift the knee as you inhale. And exhale your way back to plank pose. With your breath in, rock yourself forward. With your breath out, bend your elbows and slowly lower all the way to the floor. Point your toes, and as you breathe in, Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose, lift up. Try to have your pelvis and your thighs on the floor. Imagine the pen is there and you're rolling it forward. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, lower yourself down. Walk your hands back just slightly. And as you breathe in, start to lift yourself up, baby cobra. A little bit bigger of a cobra. Bhujangasana, and then lift your thighs, upward facing dog. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. Drag the feet forward, drag your hands back. Shoulders are not up toward your earlobes, you're not hanging out to your shoulders, you're pushing the ground away, you're lifted, the shoulder heads are back. Take another breath in. And breathe out, start by lifting the pelvis up off the floor, so you're visiting almost a pointed foot plank pose. And then roll yourself back into downward facing dog. Turn your right hand out to the right about 45 degrees. Step your right foot forward onto your hand. Step onto it. Lower your left knee to the floor. Swing your left foot to the right. And reach your left arm up to the ceiling. So you have the foot on your hand for some leverage to resist again, so you can lift, you can peel the left chest, open up toward the ceiling, reach up and then sweep the arm over the ear. Try not to let your right shoulder head roll itself forward. Try not to let the head of the shoulder come up to your ear, but keep it down and move it back into your right knee. Stay right as you are, or you're gonna move that left foot back a little bit to set up so you can lift your knee and ground your foot. So you're more in a Parsvakonasana shape. You're reaching the top arm, you're trying to lift your right sideways so it's more of a rainbow type shape. Breath in. As you breathe out, lower your left hand down, slightly turned out, so it's kind of matching your right hand, but it's turned out to the left. Flip your back heel up. Take a breath in, look forward. And as you breathe out, step your left foot forward and stand on your left hand. Try to straighten out your elbows, lower your butt to about knee height. Reach your chest forward, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, lift your butt, fold over your legs. Slip your hands out from under your feet. Toe heel your feet narrower. Breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana. Breathe out, fold. As you inhale, stand yourself all the way up. Reach up. Tadasana, exhale.
Reach up, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. Chaturanga, hop or step, exhale. Upward facing, breathe in. Downward facing and breathe out. Bend knees, look forward, inhale. Bottom of your exhale, hop or step, feet to your hands. Breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana. Breathe out, fold. Rise, stand, inhale, reach up. Tadasana, exhale. Reach up, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, breathe in. Downward facing, breathe out. Bend your knees, look forward. Bottom of your exhalation, hop or step, feet to your hands. Breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana. Breathe out, fold. Rise, stand, inhale, reach up. Tadasana, exhale. One more, reach up, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, breathe in. Downward facing, breathe out. Bend the knees, look forward. Bottom of the exhale, hop or step, feet to your hands. Breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana. Breathe out, fold. Rise, stand. Inhale, reach up. Tadasana, exhale. Reach up, breathe in. Fold it, breathe out. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. And just step back. Down dog, exhale. Rock forward, tap your knees down to the floor. Take your rolled up blanket, the rolled up towel, and you'll place it behind your right knee. Try to nuzzle it in to the space right behind that knee. So make sure that roll is the right size for you, that it feels right. And then you're going to squeeze your heel up toward your buttock. Squeeze in, you might flex the foot, you might point the foot, whatever way you can really get some firm squeezing in of your calf muscles toward your hamstrings, and you're squeezing that rolled up towel in there. Otherwise, you're in tabletop everywhere else. So you're not dropped into a cow, you're not rounded into a cat, you're trying to remain in a very firm tabletop position, and you're squeezing that right heel up toward your buttock. Start to lift your right knee so it's pointing straight back, and your right thigh is about parallel to the floor. Belly's in, ribs are in. Start to externally rotate at that hip. So your knee is pointing out to the side. You're trying not to rock to the left. Try to stay hugging into the midline. Try to lift your right knee a little bit higher in external rotation. Try to internally rotate at your hip.
So you're turning the top of the thigh down toward the floor. And then externally rotate at the hip once again. Internally rotate at the hip. Externally rotate at the hip. One more, just like that. Lower your knee down to the floor. Release the foot, take your rolled up towel and switch it to the second side. It's behind your left knee. You get into that space as best as you can behind the knee and squeeze your heel up toward your butt. All right, again, you're in table, everywhere else. All right, you're squeezing the left heel up toward your buttock as best as you can. You're squeezing it in very firmly, and you're being as honest with the rest of the shape as you can. You're not dropped into your shoulders, your belly's not dropping to the floor, but you're not in that exaggerated cat. You're trying to find your firm table. Squeeze the block, squeeze the towel really firmly, trying to bring the heel toward your butt. And then you're gonna reach your knee straight back and try to parallel the thigh to the floor. Right? It might not happen, but you're just trying to work that way without letting the top of your pelvis tip down to the floor. Try to stay neutral. Squeeze in, and then slowly, with external rotation in the hip, right, so the top of the thigh is face forward. You're going to bring that knee out to the side. Squeeze the heck out of that towel. Squeeze. Notice if you're rocking off to the right to help you lift off, and do less of that. Meaning table, and you're just the knee that's lifting out to the side. Just at the hip joint, as best as you can to isolate that action, internally rotate. Squeeze the towel, externally rotate. Internally rotate. Externally rotate. One more. Lower the knee down to the floor. Release the towel. Just set it off to the side. Widen out your knees and take a moment in child's pose. Good. Rise up, downward facing. Taking a breath, bend the knees, look forward. The bottom of the exhale, hopper step your feet to your hands. Breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana. Breathe out, fold it. Rise, stand, inhale, reach up. Tadasana, exhale. Reach up, breathe in. Fold it, breathe out. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. Step your left foot back, exhale. Just take a little bend in that back knee. Right knee is just about over its own ankle, and then rise yourself up to a high lunge. With that little bend in your back knee, imagine a big belt buckle, and you're trying to tip that belt buckle up toward your chin. So you're trying to accomplish bringing the pelvis into a neutral position, so don't tuck the tailbone way under and try to avoid that big anterior pelvic tilt, right? So you're trying to find neutral. Straighten out the elbows, reach up, take a breath in. As you breathe out, open arm twist to the right. Keep imagining that belt buckle tipping up toward your chin, and press the top of your left thigh straight back to try to take some of the bend out of your knee. Take an inhalation. Reverse it, exhale. As you breathe in, turn your chest and your eyes forward and up. As you breathe out, lower your left hand down to the floor, kind of like we did before when you were stepping on the hands. You're going to turn your hand out about 45 degrees. Set up side plank. Drop your left heel to the left, turn your right toes to the right, and you might stay right here with your right foot on the floor, and then the right arm reaches up and sweeps over the ear. Right? Otherwise, you're gonna step your right foot on top of your left, stack, and you're pushing into the floor with your left hand and trying to lift your left hip up high so this left side body is more rainbow shaped. Take the top arm over the ear. Try not to sink into that bottom shoulder, but remain lifted out of that joint. Take a big breath in and out. Inhale the right knee into your chest. Step the foot forward, exhale. Use your arms like a windmill to rise yourself up into warrior two. Reach your arms out wide. Bend deeply into your front knee. And the action you worked on the floor before, the outer right hip is trying to wrap down and spiral under toward your sitting bone. Inner left thigh is lifting you back. Reach your arms out wide. Big breath in. As you breathe out, reach forward and down and hold on to your right ankle with your right hand really firmly. Sweep the top arm over your ear. Press the outside edge of your left foot. Drive it through the floor so you can reach away from it with the left hand. Try to lengthen that tissue on the left side body between the lowest side ribs and the top of your hip. Try to lengthen out that space. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, lower your hands to the floor inside of your right foot. Take an in-breath. As you exhale, walk your hands down the long edge of your mat, parallel to your feet. Turn your toes in slightly. Lifting up to a flat back, bring your kneecaps onto the legs, grip them onto your legs, try to lift them up toward your hips, place your hands on your hips. Try to elongate the spine, reach the crown of your head forward. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, fold over your legs. You might reach for your feet, or your big toes, or you might walk your hands through the opening of your legs, your head might touch the floor. If your head is on the floor, try to let some weight come to your head. Lift up to flat back. Lower your hands under your shoulders. Narrow the feet in a little bit. Turn your heels in and your toes out. Squat down into goddess. Your butt's about the height of your knees. Firm up your belly, hug in your ribs. Bring your hands to your hips and hinge yourself up as you breathe in. Goddess shape your arms. Ribs are in, belly's firm. Reach your arms in front of you, bring your forearms together. So your palms are facing the direction of your face. Reach your forearms away from you. Keep your belly firm, and then take your left elbow on top of the right elbow, and you can cross your arms, or you're just doing the half clasp. Maybe you're holding onto your shoulder blades like we were doing earlier. Taking a big breath in, and a big breath out. On your inhale, straighten out your knees. On your exhalation, pivot your right toes in, and your left toes forward. Now you're facing that back edge of your mat. Flip your right heel up toward the ceiling and bend your left knee. Just like a high lunge, except your arms are in Gardasana. Breathe in. Tip forward as you breathe out. Pull in your belly, inhale. And on your exhalation, bring your right knee into your chest and hold that for a moment. Really flex through the spine. Right, so you're remembering the work we did on the floor and how we did those crunches in our eagle shape. So you're trying to flex the spine as best as you can and keep that, and then from here try to cross your right thigh over the left in eagle. Hook the toes perhaps behind the calf and bring the elbows to your knees and wrap it. And drop your chin toward your chest a bit. Unravel the arms, land on the floor. Unravel the legs, land your feet hips width. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold.
Breathe in, lift halfway. Breathe out, chaturanga if you wish, or just step back. We'll meet in down dog. With your breath in, lift your right leg up. With your breath out, bring your right knee toward your left armpit and rock forward. Breathe in, send your right leg up and back. Breathe out, shorten your three-legged dog, walk your hands back a little bit. Take another in-breath. On your exhale, bring your right knee to your left armpit. Try to bring the outer thigh up high on the outer arm. Even place your foot onto the floor here, so I'll just pivot myself so I'm facing you instead. So you can place the foot on the floor and get yourself set for Ekapada Kundalini, right? So you're trying to get contact with the outer thigh and the upper arm. The hands are firmly down on the floor, about shoulders width apart, and you have to free your belly. So you're trying to lift your belly off your right thigh and twist it off to the right. Then bend your elbows like chaturanga, move forward with your chest, kick your right leg to straight, and then that left leg might lift off. Land it and shift yourself back, downward facing. Bend your knees, look forward, inhale. Bottom of your exhale, hop your feet to your hands. Take a breath in, lift halfway, fold it on your breath out. Rise up, inhale, reach up. Tadasana, exhale. Reach up, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. Right foot back, exhale. Little bend in your right knee. Rise up to high lunge. So again, that little bend in your right knee to help you find your neutral pelvis. So you're tipping your belt buckle up to your chin. Strong straight arms, ribs are in, belly's in, breath in. Open arm twist left. Keep imagining that belt buckle tipping up to your chin and press your right thigh back toward the back of the thigh to straighten the leg. Take an in-breath. Reverse it, exhale. Turn your eyes and your chest forward and up, breathe in. And then lower your right hand down for side plank as you breathe out. So you're gonna land a little bit turned out. Come on to the outer edge of your right foot. Left toes turn to the left, and the left arm works over the ear. Or you're stacking the feet, you're stepping your left foot on top of the right. Try to lift your right hip high, rainbow shape on that right side waist. Left arm's reaching over the ear. Take an inhalation and an exhalation. Inhale the left knee up into your chest. Exhale, step your left foot forward for warrior two. And with a windmill action, rise yourself up. Nice. Bend into your left knee, so it's more or less over its ankle. Wrap the outer left hip down toward your sitting bone, and that right inner thigh is trying to keep you lifted toward the back edge of your mat. Reach your arms wide, take an in-breath. On your exhalation, reach forward and down, hold on to your left ankle firmly, and take your right arm over your ear. The bottom of your exhale, lower your hands down to the floor inside your left foot. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, walk your hands down the long edge of your mat. Parallel your feet. Turn your toes in slightly. Breathe in. Fold over your legs. Breathe out. If your head is easily touching the floor, you can set up your arms for a tripod headstand. So your hands are going to walk back. Your elbows are bent at 90 degrees. The shoulder heads are lifting away from the floor. You're going to let weight come forward toward your head. Lift your heels. And then you might straddle your legs up. Otherwise, you can just repeat as before and hold your feet or walk your hands through the opening of your legs, hold your big toes. Start to straddle the legs if you're upside down. Right about at the midpoint, stick your butt out. And then from there, slowly lower the feet so they land soundlessly. Breathe into the flat back. Narrow the feet a little bit, turn your heels in, your toes out, squat. Goddess legs. Bring your hands to your hips. Firm up your belly, hug your ribs in, hinge your way up. Goddess shape the arms. Bring your forearms together. Wrap right elbow on top of left. Gardasana arms, or you're holding the backs of your shoulder blades. Reach your forearms forward, sit a little lower. Take a breath in. Tailbone's a little heavy, breathe out. As you breathe in, straighten out your knees. And as you breathe out, pivot, the left toes in, the right toes forward. Flip your left heel up, bend into your right knees. It's like a high lunge with your arms in eagle. Breathe in, tip forward, breathe out. Knee inhale, left knee toward your chest. Catch it, stay there. Find stability first, get round, flex your spine. Cross your left thigh over the right. Maybe the toes hook. Elbows wrapping over the knees. Drop the chin a bit. Unravel the arms. Unravel the legs. Take a breath in, lift halfway. Breathe out, chaturanga or skip it. Step back, down dog. Left knee, right armpit, rock forward. Left leg up and back. Shorten the down dog just slightly, just a little bit, just a couple inches. Bring your left knee to your right armpit and start that prep for your arm bow stretch, Pada Konasana 1. So you might actually land the foot on the floor and then get that connection first of the outer left thigh and your upper right arm. So you have that nice firm connection. And you're going to try to free your belly off of the thigh. So there's a little bit of lift and a turn of the abdominals to the left. Right? And once you have a firm connection, and you can start adding on chaturanga, bending your elbows, moving forward, kick your legs straight. And then that back leg might take lift off. Try to keep the shoulder heads lifting. Land the shape, come back into down dog. Bend the knees, look forward, breathe in. Hopper step feet to your hands. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, squat down, have a seat. Roll down to lay onto your back. Have your arms out in a T. Gather the shoulder blades in. Just take a moment on your back. Step your feet in a little closer to your butt. They're about the width of your hips. Bring your arms in alongside of your trunk, bending the elbows. So the backs of the arms are on the floor, your fingertips are facing up. Press the floor with the backs of your upper arms so that your chest puffs up. Walk the shoulder blades in.
and then pressing the backs of the arms really firmly into the floor so the chest is puffed up. Then start to lift the pelvis up off the ground into bridge pose. Use your feet and press them into the floor and drag your feet forward so your chest can move back toward your chin. Don't bring your chin to your chest. Keep your chin lifted. Just try to move the chest toward it. Slowly lower yourself back down. Take your hands outside of your ears. Setting up the wheel. Come up just briefly onto the top of your head. Narrow your elbows, move the heads of your shoulders toward your calf muscles, and then push your way up. Take your time and lower yourself back down. Good, and set up just one more. Connect you the same way, so you can add a brief stop on the top of your head, or you come right up. You might lift the heels to make a little extra space so your chest move back. And then take your time and land yourself back down. Toe heel your feet wider than your hips, let your knees knock in. Straighten your left leg out on the floor, bring your right knee up into your chest. Use your hands interlaced around the shin bone to hug the knee in. Flex your left ankle so you're bringing the toes toward the shin and reach through the left heel forward as the right knee's hugging in toward your right armpit. And just release your right knee, let the foot land back down to the floor. Let your left leg relax so the toes are sort of fall out to the left. And then allow your right knee to drop off to the right. So it's just a half of a Supta Baddha Konasana. Just picking up the right knee. Shift your butt just a couple of inches off to the right. Place your right foot on top of your left thigh. And come into a twist. You're letting your right knee drop to the left, and you can use your left hand to guide the knee to the left as you shift your gaze to the right.
Slowly come back up. Land both feet onto the floor. Move your butt back into the midline. Straighten out your right leg and hug your left knee into your chest. Use your hands, interlace them with the shin bone, hug the knee in. Flex the right toes, bring the toes toward your shin bone, reach through your right heel forward as your left knee moves in the direction of your left armpit. Land your left foot back down onto the floor. Let your right leg go passive and the toes just flop out to the right. Let your knee slowly drop left. So you're in that half Supta Baddha Konasana. To pick up your left knee, move your butt a couple of inches to the left, take your left foot on top of your right thigh, and guide your knee with your right hand into a twist off to the right. Shifting your gaze left. Lifting the gaze up, slowly unraveling, come up, land both feet on the floor, move your butt back into the midline, and take Supta Baddha Konasana. Both feet are together, both knees drop out to the sides. Take one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart center. Gather your shoulder blades in underneath you a bit so they're on the floor. Take a breath into your belly, into your ribs, into your chest. And open the mouth and just let the air fall out. And do again, breathe into your belly, ribs and chest. Let it fall out of the mouth. Again, into the belly, ribs and chest. Let it fall out. 2 more. Belly, breathe ribs, breathe chest. Let it go. Breathe into the belly, breathe ribs, breathe chest. Let it go. Straighten out the arms for Shavasana. Pick up your knees, straighten out the legs. You might take any props you wish. Maybe use a rolled up blanket under your thighs or blocks under the thighs. Or you're just right as you are. Just allowing the toes to fall out to the sides. letting the inner line of your legs soften. Allow the fingers to curl in toward your palms with no effort. Just allowing the inner line of your arms from fronts of the shoulders down to the centers of the palms. Soften. Center of the chest is soft. And allow that softness to radiate in all directions. Toward the head, toward the fingertips, toward the toes. Back teeth are slightly separated. Eyes are closed softly, the forehead's relaxed. Begin to deepen the breath. Moving fingers and toes, circling the wrists and ankles. Take your time. Stepping the feet to the floor. Rolling off to one side. With your eyes closed, pushing your way up into a seat. Hold your palms together in front of your heart center. Slight bow toward your heart space. Take a breath in. Let it go completely out of your mouth. And just like that again, breathe in. Release it, let it go. One more time, breathe in. Letting it go, breathe out. Bring the thumbs to the space between the brows. I thank you all so very much for joining me. I bow to you and namaste. Thank you all so very much. Thank you for joining me. Come back here, check out at least for new content. I'm sorry, I apologize that I've been slow to post more things, but you can also check out on my website. I have more content there. That's at raquelmarayoga.com, and on my website you can also sign up for my live stream classes, which will be going forward for the foreseeable future, and that's on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, thanks so much, guys. Enjoy, be well.